Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we uncover the juicy secrets hidden in plain sight within companies' financial reports. And guess what? We have a rather interesting one today. A proxy statement that hints at future plans and reveals past compensation that might just raise an eyebrow. So, what is this document really all about? Well, it's essentially Monroe, Federal Bancorp Incorporated, asking its shareholders for permission to do a few things at their upcoming annual meeting. And as always, we are going to dive deep to see what it all means for the people involved and, more importantly, for the company itself. This filing is more of an announcement for their annual meeting of stockholders, and it gives us a peek into what the company has been up to and what they plan to do next. Think of it as a regular checkup for the company where they share their health report and their future appointment schedule. The big news here is the upcoming annual meeting scheduled for the 17th of December 2025. But that is not the only item on the agenda. They are looking to elect new directors of proven equity incentive plan and also to ratify their choice of auditors, which is pretty standard stuff. Now let's get to the heart of the matter, the actual business being conducted. First up, electing 3 directors for a 3-year term. This is always a crucial part of corporate governance as it shapes the company's leadership and its long-term strategy. Then to raise a vote to approve the Monroe Federal Bancorp Incorporated 2025 Equity Incentive Plan. And this is where things get interesting. This plan basically allows the company to give out stock options and other stock-based rewards to its employees and directors. This is commonly used to attract and retain top talent and to align their interests with those of shareholders. But it can also lead to dilution for existing shareholders if not managed carefully. We will definitely be looking at the details of this plan finally there. Seeking to ratify the appointment of Wipfli LLP as their independent public accounting firm for the upcoming fiscal year. This means keeping the same auditors who checked their books last year, and that generally indicates a level of comfort with their work. Monroe Federal Bancorp Incorporated is the holding company for Monroe Federal Savings and Loan Association, and this document is giving us a rundown of what to expect at their first annual meeting since their initial public offering in October 2024. That IPO was a big step for the company, and now they are setting the stage for future growth and employee incentives. The company is making all the necessary documents available online for shareholders to review. It is always a good sign when companies are transparent with their shareholders, especially when it comes to critical decisions about the company's future. Now, who gets a say in all this? Well, anyone who owns shares of the company's common stock at the close of business on the 31st of October 2025 gets to vote. The company does have an interesting little rule. Though if you own more than 10% of the shares, you can't vote the shares you hold beyond that 10% limit. This is likely to prevent any single major shareholder from having too much control. To have a valid meeting, a majority of the outstanding shares must be represented either in person or by proxy for the director's election. It's a plurality vote, meaning the top 3 vote getters win for the equity plan, and the auditor ratification, a simple majority of votes cast is needed. This is super important if you hold your shares through a broker and you do not instruct them on how to vote for the director's election or the equity plan. Your shares will not be counted. This is known as a broker non-vote. So make sure to cast your vote if you want it to count. And if you are a record holder and do not vote, your shares will not be counted on any of the items. The company is strongly encouraging everyone to vote by mail or the internet. This is standard practice to ensure as many shareholders as possible are represented. This is their recommendation vote for all director nominees vote for the equity plan and vote for ratifying the auditors. It's good to see the company is focused on good corporate governance practices. They are aiming for the highest standards of ethical conduct and transparency. This includes having independent directors on their board, which is crucial for objective oversight. While they are not listed on a major stock exchange like NASDAQ, they are adopting NASDAQ's definition of an independent director. All their directors are considered independent except for Louis R. Renault, the president, and CEO, who is an employee. This separation of roles between chairman and CEO is also a positive sign for good governance. The board believes separating the chairman and CEO roles improves oversight and allows the CEO to focus on running the company. The board itself and its committees are responsible for overseeing the company's risk management strategy. This is a fundamental responsibility for any board of directors. They have an audit committee, compensation committee, and nominating committee comprised of independent directors. This structure allows for specialized oversight in key areas. The audit committee, which is particularly important for financial integrity, is headed by Jonathan J. Steinke, a CPA. This committee works closely with the independent auditors to review accounting and financial reporting matters. Jonathan J. Steinke is recognized as an audit committee financial expert, which adds another layer of confidence. This committee sets compensation for senior management and reviews all aspects of it. This is where pay for performance comes into play. This committee is responsible for identifying identifying and recommending director candidates, they have clear criteria for nominees looking for experience, skills, and integrity. Looking at the directors' compensation for the fiscal year ended the 31st of March 2025, non-employee directors received a monthly retainer of $1,500 with an extra $500 for the chairman and $200 for each committee meeting. This is a respectable amount for their time and expertise. The table shows that Julie M. Brorman-Daniels received $20,200, Andrew L. Davidson received $26,200, and Anthony H. Heinel received $18,600. William G. Hibner Jr. received $18,800. Jonathan J. Steinke received $19,400. And Sarah G. Worley received $18,800. These figures are fairly standard for non-executive directors, and importantly, it looks like they are not excessively compensated. Directors and officers can defer part of their compensation, which is a common benefit. They also have a director retirement plan, which vests based on years of service. This is a nice perk to ensure experienced directors are incentivized to stay with the company. This section shows who owns how much of the company as of the 31st of October 2025. The Monroe Federal Savings and Loan Association employee stock ownership plan owns 36,851 shares, which is 7.0% of the company's stock. This is a good sign that the employees themselves are invested in the company's success. The directors themselves also hold shares. Louis R. Renellet, the CEO, holds 25,300 shares, which is 4.81% of the outstanding stock. This shows a solid commitment from leadership. This is where they nominate 3 individuals to serve as directors: Julie M. Brorman-Daniels, Louis R. Renellet, and Sarah G. Worley. It is worth noting that Director William G. Hibner Jr.'s term will end due to mandatory retirement age policies. The board plans to reduce its size slightly, which is a practical move. Julie M. Brorman-Daniels, with a background in marketing, brings valuable management experience. Louis R. Renellet, as CEO, brings extensive banking knowledge, and Sarah G. Worley, a lawyer, adds legal and community connections. These are solid profiles for directors. William G. Hibner Jr. is retiring after a long career in construction management. His insights have been valuable. Andrew L. Davidson Odd has been with the board since 1995, offering deep institutional knowledge. Anthony H. Heinel brings business expertise, and Sarah G. Worley is a shareholder and director of a law firm. This is the plan we talked about earlier, and it is a significant item. They are asking shareholders to approve this plan, which would allow them to grant stock options and restricted stock units to employees and directors. The maximum number of shares that can be issued is capped, and they are following many best practices like 1-year minimum vesting periods. This plan is pretty standard for companies, especially after a mutual to stock conversion. The plan includes many features designed to be investor-friendly, such as limits on individual grants prohibiting underwater stock option, repricing, and requiring a double trigger for vesting acceleration in case of a change in control. These are all good things that show the company is thinking about their shareholders. They strongly believe this plan will help them attract and retain talent and align employee interests with shareholder interests. This is a valid point, especially in competitive industries where talent is key. The number of shares reserved for this plan is about 13% of the shares sold in their stock offering, which is generally in line with what they disclosed before. They seem to be staying within the bounds they set for themselves. They are requesting a pool of 68,436 shares to be available for awards. This breaks down into 15,793 shares for restricted stock and 52,643 for stock options. The current stock price is $11.6 per S-share. The plan is to be administered by the Compensation Committee and will be available to employees and directors. The types of awards include stock options, restricted stock awards, and restricted stock units. They are trying to get this plan approved on the 17th of December 2025, and it will be in effect for 10 years. They can grant stock options, which are the right to buy stock at a set price. Restricted stock, which is actual stock given to an employee, and restricted stock units, which are like promises to give stock. Later, this gives them a lot of flexibility in how they compensate their people. These awards are subject to vesting, which means the recipient has to stay with the company for a certain period. To get them, this is a common way to retain employees. Similar to restricted stock, but the actual shares are not given until certain conditions are met. These are often paid out in stock or cash. These give the holder the right to buy company stock at a specific price. The exercise price cannot be less than the fair market value on the grant date. This is a powerful incentive for employees, as they benefit if the stock price goes up. These awards vest based on achieving specific company goals. This ties compensation directly to company performance, which is a smart move. They have included a detailed explanation of the tax implications of these awards. This is important for both the company and the employees to understand. It is important to note that future awards are under the plan are discretionary and cannot be determined at this time. This is common practice as the company wants to maintain flexibility in how it rewards its employees. The board of directors unanimously recommends a vote for the approval of this plan. They clearly believe it is in the best interest of the company and its shareholders. This is the part where shareholders get to approve the company's choice of auditor. Wipfli LLP served as their auditor for last year, and the board wants to keep them on for another year. This is typically a straightforward approval unless there have been any issues with the auditor's performance. Last year, the company paid Wipfli LLP $32,000 for audit fees. In the previous year, they paid $129,226. It seems like their audit fees have decreased significantly, which could be due to various reasons, perhaps a change in scope or a more efficient audit process. They also paid $185,000 for audit-related fees. This is for services associated with registration statements and other securities filings. This is a substantial amount, and we need to understand what exactly went into this. They paid $51,040 for tax services, which is also reasonable. The audit committee approves all services provided by the independent auditor. This ensures that the auditors remain independent and do not provide services that could compromise their objectivity. Now let's look at how the top executives are compensated. This is always a hot topic. For the fiscal year ended the 31st of March 2025, Louis R. Renelet. The CEO earned a salary of $199,135 with a $35,000 bonus. This is a pretty solid compensation package. Lisa M. Bird. The CFO earned $147,470 and Douglas E. Tai. Emson VP of Commercial Lending earned $154,763. Their salaries seem to be increasing year over year, which is a good indicator of progress, but we need to see if that growth is sustainable. In 2025, Renelet's total compensation was $276,189, Bird's was $158,965, and Thompson's was $169,540. These numbers reflect their salaries, bonuses, and other compensation like profit sharing and ESOP allocation. Mr. Renelet has an employment agreement that renews annually, and if a company changing control occurs, the term automatically renews for 3 years. He receives a base salary of $199,500 plus bonuses, and benefits. His severance package is quite generous, including salary, bonuses, and benefit. For a substantial period, if he is terminated without cause or resigns for good reason, this could be a significant liability for the company if his employment is terminated. Similar change in control agreements are in place for other officers like Lisa M. Bird and Douglas E. Thompson. These agreements also provide for severance payments and continued benefits in the event of termination. Following a change in control, these agreements are designed to protect executives during uncertain times, but they can also be costly for the company. Officers and directors can defer compensation, and it has been amended to allow investment in Monroe Federal Bancorp's common stock. This is a way to further align interests and encourage stock ownership. The company offers a 401k plan, which is a standard benefit for employees and executives. They also have an ESOP, which is another great way to incentivize employees and give them a stake in the company's success. Good news here, as of the 31st of March 2025, there were no outstanding equity awards to any of the named executive officers. This means the new equity plan will be the primary vehicle for equity-based compensation going forward. The company has a policy of not granting stock options during closed quarterly trading windows. This is a responsible practice to avoid any appearance of insider trading. Federal law generally prohibits loans to officers and directors, but financial institutions like Monroe Federal have an exemption. They offer loans to employees and officers on the same terms as other employees. This shows they are following regulations and not giving preferential treatment. They have set deadlines for shareholders to submit proposals or nominations for future meetings. These dates are important for shareholders who want to have a say in the company's direction. Shareholders can communicate with the board of directors by writing to the company. This provides a channel for feedback and engagement. The company will pay for the cost of this proxy solicitation, and they have hired an external firm to help with it. This indicates they are taking the shareholder meeting very seriously. The annual report on Form 10. K is also available, which provides a more detailed look at their financial performance. And that brings us to the end of the proxy statement, revealing a lot about the company's governance, compensation, and future plans. So what is my take on all of this? Monroe Federal Bancorp Incorporated seems to be a company that is mindful of its corporate governance and the interests of its shareholders. They are implementing an equity incentive plan, which is a positive step for attracting and retaining talent. And the terms of that plan appear to be reasonable and shareholder friendly. The fact that their executives have their compensation tied to the company's success through bonuses, profit sharing, and the upcoming equity plan is a good sign. The decrease in audit fee As is noteworthy, and the company seems to be operating with transparency by making all relevant documents available to shareholders. However, the generous severance packages for executives do present a potential financial risk if terminations occur. Overall, Monroe Federal Bancorp Incorporated appears to be a well-managed company with a solid foundation and a clear strategy for growth. It shows commitment to good governance and employee engagement. The focus on shareholder value alongside employee incentives signals a balanced approach. What do you think about this proxy statement and the proposed equity plan? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this deep dive valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe. To Corporate Decoder for more insights into the corporate world, don't forget to join our Discord community, linked in the description for even more discussions on these topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.